Hello everybody. Today we're going to get these dahlias out and planted. It is the 16th of May, so all fears of frost should be over. I have quite a few varieties. These tall things here you see are the dahlias. Over here, these are a couple seeds that I just planted for another type of flower. And then we also have a couple here. And some that are just starting to emerge. So most of these were tubers, but I did have a couple cuttings, and I wanted to show you the difference between the cuttings and the tubers. So depending on the size of the tuber, depends on the initial rootstock. So you can see here, now this is a mystery variety that I purchased. We don't know what it will be. But you can kind of see some little darker tones to the leaf and the stem that may indicate that it's going to be a darker dahlia. We won't know for sure till it actually blooms. But this was a very large tuber. I have these, I think these are maybe, I don't know if these are 3 or 4 inch pot. And this tuber, now they were sprouting when I got them, so I stuck them in soil, but I had to kind of plant it catty corner because it was so big, and you can see that this stalk is pretty substantial. Okay, now this one, this is called Lilac Time, and if you want to see what that looks like, Lilac Time, it's a beautiful purple. That was also a tuber, but it was a smaller tuber. Just not as big. Okay, now Caribbean Fantasy right here. Do you see this has a very fringy leaf? You can almost tell that this is Caribbean Fantasy by the leaf alone. The Caribbean Fantasy was a cutting. So a cutting is when you take the tuber and it's starting to sprout and it's starting to grow, and you cut the plant off. You stick the plant into a rooting hormone, and then you start the plant. And one tuber can produce multiple cuttings. Now this should still produce flowers the first year, but you can see it's just not quite as big as this tuber, growing from the tuber, and certainly not from this tuber. So that's the basic idea. Now this year, Caribbean Fantasy is going to produce tubers. So I won't have to start it from a cutting again if I choose not to. But it's a way that you can get more of a particular variety if you really like them and you don't have a whole lot of tubers from them. So I have here quite a few. Now I have, you can see here some of the different ones I had. Foxy Lady was a cutting. Caribbean Fantasy was a cutting. I received 2 mystery dahlias. So the mysteries were tubers. They were $5 each because it was unknown what they were. Cuttings were $4, a little cheaper. Tubers were $7. I purchased these from a establishment that kind of did like florist work, and they also had a cut your own flower business, but they're liquidating. So, and there's a Lilac Time, which we looked at. Daydreamer, I love these 2 color flowers. And then a friend gave me 4 Ivanetti tubers. Now these are slow to start. These were not sprouting quite like my other tubers were. They did have some eyes, or what we thought were eyes. And so they're just coming along here, but they're still good to go outside. You see that third one is just come up in the corner. There's my biggest. And then this is a Peaches and Cream. You can see that one's coming right up. And again, these are some other things I have planted here. Trying some Eskimo marigolds out. Never had white marigold. So, and you know, after you plant a marigold, you'll have a million of them. So I have an area prepared. Dahlias like sun, full sun, or at least 6+ hours of sun, particularly morning sun. So I have an area prepared for them. Here's my other mystery. It's just starting. Also, that was a slow one. Okay. But I think it'll go well. See, we're gonna get these in the ground. They're starting to get kind of leggy inside here, but where I live, really, it's not totally safe to bring them out before now. You can see this one, it's just needs to go outside. Might even need a little support out there. And also, like I showed you, the Caribbean Fantasy leaf, I think it's so interesting how they all have like variations of a similar leaf. Similar, but different. It's just kind of neat. So we'll get these in the ground and we'll check back in on them in a couple of days and see how they're doing out there. So I now have my dahlias planted outside in the desired locations. Some of them took the transplant better than others. They're kind of adjusting, but I do expect them to bounce back. Actually, some of them look better than they did. So you see this one right here is specifically not looking well. This is Caribbean Fantasy, but I'm hoping it'll bounce back. I noticed that my cuttings did not take the transplant as well as the tubers did. This one here is Holly Hill Lemon. It was very long and leggy and it actually snapped off. You can see. So we're just gonna let it grow like that. It should still be fine. And you can actually pinch these off if they get too long or you want them to bush out more. And you can see I have stakes so that I can tie them and support them if need be. Some of them I did add some support to already. Walking by my foxgloves, which are looking great. And then we've got some more over here. Some of these aren't real visible. You can see those there. And they're just adjusting to the sun and having the full sun. So this location gets sun till about 1:30 in the afternoon, and then the house casts shade on the bed. So they will have afternoon shade, but they will get plenty of sun. So I will follow back up in a couple weeks. We can see who made it, who didn't make it, which dahlias shot up, how things are progressing. So the dahlia saga continues. Now I haven't filmed about my dahlias since I was getting ready to plant them outside. They are in the ground thriving. You can see that one there by the window is quite tall. It's close to 5 feet tall. Others are not quite so tall. Different varieties grow to different heights and at different times. So this location, as I believe I mentioned before, gets first half of the day sun. Right now it is pushing 3 o'clock and it's starting to be shaded. So till like 1:32, this is sunny all day till then. So the dahlias love that. And not all of them have bloomed so far, but I wanted to show you some of the ones that are blooming now. This is called Rip City, and I actually have a cut flower of this inside, and I really like it. It's very large flower. You see, here's my hand, and I have a large hand for a girl.
And this one's still opening. Now this was one of my mysteries. It was a huge tuber. And now the stalk on this thing, let me show you. You see that? It's huge. It's like 1.5 inches in diameter. But that's a mystery, not entirely sure of the name of it. But it's a smaller red flower. I will get the name. This one is producing like mad. All kinds of buds. Now I don't have any open on this one right now. This was a beautiful one. Both of those were beautiful. This is Labyrinth. This one is getting ready to open again. I'm gonna have to film again so you guys can see the ones that aren't blooming right now. Now, if you see right here is a marker. I did have one planted here. It was Holly Hill Lemonade, I think, or Holly Hill Lemon. That was a cutting. And when I went to unplant it, it just kind of fell apart and it didn't make it. Now, if it had been a tuber, the odds of it shooting up another sprout would be very likely, but it wasn't a tuber, it was a cutting. And so when it didn't make it that first shoot, then it was all said and done, and it's just kind of over. This one is getting ready to open, and I'm excited about that. This one's Lilac Time. It is also getting ready to open, but I have one of these cut in the house I can show you. And so far, I think this one's my favorite over here. Now these ones are a little smaller. This back here, this really little one, is also a mystery. But this here, look at that. Isn't it beautiful? This one kind of curves around. It's almost circular. And I just think it's so pretty. It's not finished opening yet. This is called Peaches and Cream. So I'm excited about, really excited about that one. For some reason, that wasn't what I expected. Let's see the back of it. See, it's almost like 360 flower. Like almost every angle you look at it, it's beautiful. So anyways, there's just a little update on my dahlias, what's happening with them. These are all Ivanettis. Well, one's got a bud there, but they aren't blooming yet. This one here has some buds, but it hasn't bloomed yet. But I'm definitely gonna have to get some more footage for you as we get blooms so you can see. Now let me show you what I've got inside. So here is what I did. Just made a little bouquet. This is Lilac Time, and it's still opening, but it's a big, beautiful flower. And you can see how the petals are all kind of different. This one was a little bug-eaten, but it's still opening. This is a Rip City, and you can see these leaves kind of get like a twist to them, where these leaves kind of span out, but there's a lot of variety within the dahlia anyways. And then these are just snapdragons. I love snapdragons. They're a tall variety of snapdragons. So it's just a little cuttings bouquet that I did for just here at my sink. And the dahlias do last a really long time in cut water. Another day, another flower arrangement in my house. No, just kidding. Dahlias, most varieties last an incredibly long time as a cut flower, but I had two different ones in here. Well, Lilac Time was there on my last clip, but this one is more open. I just wanted to show you. This measures 8 inches across. It is huge, gorgeous, and it's not even entirely open down in there. And then this is completely open on a Peaches and Cream. Look at that. That is a semi-ball dahlia. It's almost entirely. And then there is the Rip City again. But I just wanted to show you this before I took you outside and showed you what is blooming now. Well, here we are. We're outside. We have blooming. This is called, oh darn, I just forgot. It's Winds. Oh, where's my tag? Winds Pastel, I think. Oh, I'll have to double check. But interestingly, it opens up quite yellow. and then it becomes more pink, but I think it's beautiful. Of course, there's some more Lilac Times coming, and the more you cut your dahlia flowers, the more they produce. Rip City is going wild there. That mystery red dahlia is producing like crazy. I'm still waiting on Caribbean Fantasy. Back here, we don't even have any buds yet on this one. And I'm holding on here. Worst case scenario, there should be tubers. And we do have buds here, so they are coming. Not sure what one that is. But I do have a Labyrinth blooming, which I wanted to show you the Labyrinth. Isn't it beautiful? Now I would cut this one and bring it in, but I can't, just the way it's growing on the plant. It would have a very short stem, but I just love it. And there's another one opening. Several more buds coming. And then on this side over here, we have an Ivanetti opening. Now Ivanetti is a ball dahlia, so it should look even more ball-like than the Peaches and Cream. Peaches and Cream is still going to town, and several more buds coming. There's a stink bug on there. Okay, now this is Wynn's new pastel, which means that one over there that we saw is something else. This one's getting ready to bloom again. Eccentric. Let's see, that one's starting. Be open in a couple days. Eclectic, that's what it's called. Oh, here's my tag. Yay. Wow, it's really in there. Daydreamer. Okay, so this is Daydreamer. It's very pretty. Love it. Love them all. Love them all except this one is my least favorite. And I don't exactly know why. I mean, it's growing fantastically. And it is unique. It's still beautiful. But it is just not my favorite. But look at that, it does look really pretty. Anyways, I'll bring you back in a couple more days and we'll see if we can see those Ivanettis open and maybe this Eclectric. So in Dahlia world today, I've got a big tall one that kind of fell over. I mean, it was huge. Next year I'm going to do a little charting about the heights of these and stake a little better accordingly. I've got more Ivanettis blooming, but what I wanted to show you was this one. First bloom of it. This is called Wynn's New Pastel, W-H-Y-N. I think it's very pretty. And it's not even totally opened yet. It is similar to this one, but also different. Got all kinds of blooms on Eclectric now, and Labyrinth. Oh, beautiful. So this is Foxy Lady here, getting ready to open. Very anxious to see that. And finally, my Caribbean Fantasy has a bud right there. So excited. And then the only other one, so we're waiting on those two for blooms to see what they look like. And then I have a mystery down here, which looks like needs tied up. But I'm anxious to see what this mystery is going to be. I got to get out here with my string and tie some flowers up. There is Foxy Lady. She is just in full bloom here now. You can see there are multiple blooms. But I brought you back to show you just one more time I've got my final 2 dahlias blooming. This is Caribbean Fantasy. It's opening up. And it reminds me a lot of Foxy Lady. Different petal shape and larger. More of a vibrant purple, but very similar. So there's Foxy Lady again. And the dahlias are just going wild here. Look at all the peaches and cream dahlias. What a producer. They are gorgeous. And Ivanetti. So it's August 20th now. And finally, this mysterious dahlia is starting to bloom. This is Blushing Bride. So I hope you enjoyed my following this journey of my dahlias with me. I will be planting some more varieties next year, and we will deal with tubers and stuff, all that, and hopefully I will be able to do a video along the way.